Bill, welcome to the program. I just want to begin by getting your take on this quarterly figures, the worst in nearly 30 years.
But in some ways, I think the good news behind the numbers is it demonstrates how China has really progressed and become very much an advanced economy, in that the service sector really declined by much less than that 6.8%, more like 5.25%, whereas manufacturing is one really took the hit. And it shows that China has really moved away from being a manufacturing center to being a more diversified service-oriented economy. And I think that's also to China's benefit, but also part of China's weakness, because as you just mentioned in the report, the service economy means much more employment. And once the service economy gets hit, we have to make sure that the government policies put in place safety nets to make sure that unemployment doesn't take off.
And how much of a double whammy, if you will, is this for China? From one end, China's own domestic consumption spending clearly down. From another side, it's normal customers around the world, obviously not hopping with economic activity these days.
What a great question, because that's really the tension that's going to determine how China starts to come out of this downturn. Will it be driven by external demand? Well, I doubt that, because the global economy looks like it's going to take a while for Europe and the United States to come back online again. And so China's going to have to depend much more on bolstering its domestic demand and domestic service economy, improving employment, and ensuring people are safe to go out to spend money. I think the health policies is really going to come into question, because confidence in people coming out is something that will be driving China's growth in the very near future.
Another part of the story, Bill, is every facet of the economy relies so heavily on Spring Festival, on Chinese New Year. And of course, we saw what happened this year.
Well, this year, I think we're going to have to learn a new set of seasonals. That is, the drivers for consumer demand, the drivers for China taking leisure and really spending money are going to be much different coming out of this period of a health crisis. And so it's going to be much more driven by, what can I do to protect the health of my family? What can I do to protect my salary? What can the small businesses do to reassure our customers that it's safe to come into my store and restaurant?
All right, so give us some good news. What is the outlook for the rest of the year for China and also for the rest of the world?
I must say, China's policymakers are doing all the right things. The central bank is ensuring that the banks themselves have sufficient liquidity and sufficient capital to be able to lend to small businesses when it's needed. And more importantly, the fiscal policy is driving toward ensuring people have adequate income during this period of lockdown and release from lockdown. I think one of the things that we're going to have to watch for is whether people take the cues and really go out and start spending again, or are they going to start to be savers and be very afraid to spend because they're not sure whether the health conditions will warrant it. That's the real question that's ahead for China, and the challenge for China's authorities to reassure the world and China's own population that it's safe to go out again.